was silently sobbing in the corner by myself in the tent. I mean, it was like...
It was miserable.
Oh, it was like being a pioneer. And... Welcome to your two best friends.
She's not my sister.
And it's been a while.
It's been a long while. You told me not to say how long, but I'm going to.
We filmed it in March. It released in June. And we've been a little busy.
We've been really busy. I think people think we're together all the time because you see us on social media, but that takes like an act of Congress to get us actually in the same room at the same time, and a lot of planning. And so I think that's been our biggest problem. We've both been working too much. And you decided to make a massive life change in the big fat middle of all this. And you had 9,000 camps, but we'll talk about that.
We'll talk about all these things. But I will say it's been a while. And really, the audience has been very demanding.
Very demanding.
And by audience...
all three of our people.
By audience, I mean my Rotary Club.
Yeah, your Rotary Club was pretty demanding. I went to visit and they were asking me.
They were asking you.
I know, I felt so special.
I felt special too. So they were like, oh, where's your sister? I was like, she's right there.
Although we have had that happen a couple of times.
It's really rude.
It really is, especially when I got this chicken. You should be offended. I've got like this chicken neck working and people are asking if I'm your sister. So what's that say? I don't know what that means.
Do I have a chicken neck? I would say I have these new wrinkles right here. Have you noticed?
That's from running a business.
It's called frowning at the computer all day. All I do is scowl at people and problems and my computer.
Absolutely.
And I've noticed now I can't get rid of these wrinkles. I don't want to do Botox because I toxin into my body.
It's called entrepreneurship right here.
It's the entrepreneurial
It's terrible.
frown line. Right here.
Yep.
But we are happy to be back.
We are so happy to be back. We have so much to talk about. We were going to have a guest on our next episode, but it's been so long.
And we are interesting enough.
Well, I don't know about that. I don't know about that. But we are at least
so interesting. We can take a whole episode.
Let's do it. Let's do life updates, and then let's have a guest next time.
I think we should.
Hey, so obviously there's an elephant in the room right now. So you are joined the Golden Girls.
I know. I said I would never have short hair, but you know, it's not. I think the theory could be wrong in certain instances. That short hair doesn't always mean you're a golden girl. But I decided to take out most of my extensions. I left 2 rows in. I can't quit cold turkey on extensions. So I left 2 little rows in. My girl, Austin, and I were just like, should we do it? We have to do it. So last minute, we chopped my hair off and a blunt bob, and it has been so fun. And I think you...
I was on to something. I was on to something.
It's pretty easy, but yes, I'm sorry for all of those who I have offended. There's been many messages.
There have been many messages
about me hating on short hair, and now I have short hair.
See, God has a sense of humor.
Yes. I think it's so fun. I love the way it looks, and it always has so much volume.
Is it easy?
I already have crazy bed hair. Like, I've always woken up with crazy hair. When I was little, I'd come out of the bedroom, and you guys would be like, oh my gosh, your hair looks like
you look like a big lion.
Yeah.
Yes.
Then I electrocuted. So when I wake up in the morning, I have so much volume. It's so much easier. I feel like I'm more mature, like a businesswoman. So
I think you look a lot more mature.
Yeah, that's what people have been saying.
I know. Okay, let's jump in. Let's
happies and crappies.
Yeah.
We haven't done happy and crappy.
We haven't done it. So, what is your happy?
Let's start with the crappy and on a high note. Do crappy and then you're happy.
Okay.
So my crappy is that, well, no, because my happy leads to my crappy.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah, my happy leads to crappy. So my happy is that I bought my first house.
Yes.
And it's this magical, girly,
full of flowers. It just looks like a little, like a flower threw up in there.
Yeah, pink flowers, wildflowers, white couches, It's adorable. I love it so much. I always wanted a white kitchen. I have a white kitchen now. And I was looking for a long time. And then all of a sudden, when it was go time, it was go time. I was so ready. But then my crappy is I'm not really handy. I really can't do any yard work. I was trying to hang twinkly lights.
Nor can you move or unpack.
I can't move or unpack. So part of I have the opposite of ADHD than you. You like kick it into high gear. Your ADHD makes you hyper focused, jump from task to task. And me, I have the freeze.
You shut down.
I shut down.
Completely shut down.
I think
I unloaded your entire house while you put 2 bar stools together.
Well, no. I do well when someone tells me what to do.
This is true.
Like, sit here and unload this. Sit here and hang this up. Sit here and build furniture. I built all of the furniture for my house.
This is true.
True. So
why I unpacked packed.
Yes.
Yes.
You packed the house and you unpacked it.
So
I'm eternally grateful.
The crappy was you decided to buy this house in the middle of camp season.
Yes.
So you were gone to Young Life Camp here with your people.
Yes. So I decided I wanted to move. I looked at houses all that week and I knew in my gut that this was my house. It was sunshiny. It had windows. I kept saying, I want a sunshiny house. Yes. It has to be sunshiny.
Yes.
I decided on the home and then we were moving forward and at camp, like the next week, I left you.
And it happened really quickly. They accepted
really
the offer
fast.
within a week.
Yes, very fast.
There were multiple offers, but you were the one.
I was the top pick.
You were the top pick. Mm-hmm. So they accepted the offer, and then you went to camp, and I packed
with you one day. We packed one day, which is you bossing me.
Yes.
Pack this section next, this section next. And then I left you, and you packed your
entire house by myself.
I was at camp telling people about Jesus, making deaf kids have accessible camping experience. I was doing that.
And I was holding that working myself to the bone. So
she was working herself to the bone, and then
and this is working full time and doing this all weekend.
Yes, and you did have backup at one point.
I had backup for about 4 hours, maybe. Well, I take that back. They came over and helped probably half a day, and then your Aunt Lori did help me one full day.
Yes, so fabulous. The women in my life made this happen.
Yes, they did.
But I will say, I was doing camp, working, and then about 11 o'clock, all the kids would start to get sleepy and get ready for bed, and I was taking my computer into the Wi-Fi area and the adult staff room and signing all this paperwork.
Yeah, it was pretty exciting.
It was intense. And then I came back, we closed that, and then I left again.
You were home 4 days.
I was home. Yeah, 3 or 4 days.
And then you left for Canada for a backpacking trip with your kids, which I want to talk about because there were some really cool stories on this.
Stories about Canada. I backpacked for 6 days. So anyway, so that's my big happy. And then the only really crappy thing is that I really am not handy. I've been trying to do things around my house. Like I tried to hang twinkly lights and I tried to put a post in the ground. And so far it took me 3 hours and I've gotten nowhere.
Why did you try to put a post in the ground?
Because I want to hang these cute fun things. These are ferns. Okay. And the ground is so hard in Texas that I couldn't do it.
Did you use a mallet?
Yes, I used a hammer, a mallet, and I watered the ground to make it soft. And you should have seen me. My neighbors were probably laughing at me because I was just so beyond frustrated. I had to take 3 breaks. And I decided I either need a husband, which at this point could take 10 years. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm thinking that might.
It could.
Yeah.
And then I need my mom. I think I need my mom.
So I know what I'll be doing next Friday.
So Friday, you'll be helping me hang the twinkly lights.
Perfect.
Okay, perfect. That's in the agreement. What's your happy and crappy?
My happy and crappy, probably the happy has been seeing you get this fun house, but also I have been able to just have a relaxing Saturday. I would just excuse me.
Were you in pajamas all day?
I was in pajamas all day. Read a book. Sat on my porch. Drank coffee.
I've
been reading a book. I know.
What book are you reading?
Shoot, I forgot the name of it. It's a James Paxton. It's a
romance novel.
No, it's a attorney. It's a murder.
A murder mystery.
Yeah, but now I can't remember the name of it. And then crappy probably was packing your whole house. Then I got a pedicure this weekend. She took off half my foot, so that was a little bit of a crappy.
She
I really have
off.
had more crappies, but I think we're gonna talk about a little more in depth.
We're ending that. Yeah, I got my first pedicure after backpacking in Canada, and bless her heart, she was just like,
I've seen it. It's disgusting.
It was disgusting. My feet have been peeling because all of our gear got wet on the second or third day.
Let's talk about Canada. Tell us about Canada.
Yeah. So Canada was really amazing because I've been with these students since they were 7 and 8 years old. They're my closest group of kids, and I'm just so proud of them. I mean, they're the original babies that I have, and now they're all these adorable grown people who graduated from high school. So we got to take a really special backpacking trip with them, and of course they have no idea how serious backpacking. It's not glamping.
No,
it's not, oh, we're gonna stay at this cute cabin and hike out every day.
Did they know that going in?
Not really. So on purpose, I really didn't share how awful it was gonna be. And how intense it was really going to be.
Right.
So it was basically trains, planes, and automobiles. We had to fly to Washington.
You slept an hour.
Yeah, I slept. Oh, yeah. So I slept 1 hour because the kids all stayed with me. We had to drive to Austin. I had to drive everybody.
You had to leave at 1:30 in the morning.
1:30 in the morning. So I was up at 1:30, and the teenagers never went to bed. I woke up, and they had been cooking pancakes. There was a puzzle. They were doing a puzzle in the middle of the night.
So they never went to sleep?
They never went to bed. So I wake up with an hour of sleep, and I'd start driving us to Austin from San Antonio. We flew to Washington. Then I somehow got to drive a minivan, which is my dream, to be a minivan Emma. I'm driving a minivan, and then we have to catch a ferry. And
does the minivan like pull into the ferry? Like it's a drive on?
It was so dramatic. I didn't know what I was doing. So I ended up in the complete wrong lane, about probably 6 lanes over, and you're stuck. You cannot get over. So I had to run down the ferry ramp to catch a man to help me. I was like, please help, sir. Like, we're all... I used the deaf card.
You used the deaf card.
I used the deaf card.
Perfect.
So I said, we're all deaf. And I misunderstood. And I just wasn't paying attention. But I ended up in like lane 6, and we had to be in lane 1.
Oh, no.
So
what happened?
Freaking out. So he runs down with me. And at this point, I'm like, the deaf card wins again. So then he escorts
Use it,
us.
don't abuse it.
Yes, use it, don't abuse it.
Yeah, there you go.
So he escorts us in person down the ramp. He weaves us in and out of traffic. He puts us right to the front. He backs us up, and we are at the front of the line. Just so many moments like that on that trip, and it was just so beautiful. So we took a ferry, and then I'm driving my minivan still. We drive all the way another 2 or 3 hours to the camp where the boat is coming to take you to base camp. Well, base camp had no running water, a little bit, one spot, no internet, no power,
no electricity,
no toilets. Yeah.
No toilets?
Well, a biff.
What's a biff? Is that an outhouse?
Well, it's a hole in the ground. Yes.
Ugh.
So this is what's happening. So these are my most special kids, and we really bonded, but we were at base camp sleeping on plywood with sleeping bags, and so they prep you for the camp. Like, everybody splits up gear. We had 60-pound packs. So I did it when I was 18. Quite different when you're 28.
Yes.
Things really start to hurt. My sciatic nerve started acting up. I had colitis attack on the trail, which is, no toilet paper, and you have an autoimmune that attacks your gut. Imagine
so what do you
nightmare.
use? Not to be gross, but y'all use leaves?
You use rocks.
Rocks?
Yeah, it's actually a really great wiping surface.
Nuh-uh.
Yeah. And certain leaves. So if you see a leaf on trail, and you're like, prime wiping material. And then you build what's called a biff, or a cat hole. And so I'm tougher than I look. People think it's all pink, all girly, and that's true. But also I can bluff it and tough it out.
That sounds awful. I can't even imagine.
But
That doesn't even sound fun. There's nothing.
It builds a grit. It's that you hit that point where your body gives up, and your spirit and just resiliency takes over. And especially because this is more...
I would lay down and just start crying.
We would
and
have to feed you to the bear.
Yeah, you would have to feed me because I hate that kind of crap.
I would have left you a long time ago.
Well, even when you all went camping as a child, when you all were children with your
Yes.
dad, I would drive there and do the s'mores and do the outside events with you. And then I would drive home and sleep in my own bed.
Yes.
I hate camping.
I love camping.
hate it.
Yeah, it's my favorite thing in the world. It's just being out there roughing it. And so it's all spiritual based because it's faith based. So it's a lot of it is really relying on God for your strength, and that suffering produces perseverance. And so you hit that point where you just don't think you can do it anymore, and it truly, you become reliant on God, talking and praying and reciting scripture in your mind. So there was this one young man who I've been so close to since he was 11 years old, and I took him to camp. When I first brought him to camp, he would only wear a hoodie.
That's when I met him. He was wearing a
He
hoodie.
was wearing a hoodie because he was trying to hide his hearing aids, trying to hide the fact that he had hearing loss. And he has just been a part of my story since he was 11. And I've always just adored this kid. And he comes to Deaf Young Life, which is a high school ministry. And he went to everything. He was at camp. He did work crew for a month at Young Life Camp. He did family camp. He did work crew weekend. He did
Grizzly
all
bear.
the weekend camps, everything. And
But it wasn't sticking.
but he would thinking about it, and he would say, well, I'm not quite ready. And he kept saying, I'm not clean enough for Jesus. And I was like, that's the point of the gospel, is you don't have to get clean. Jesus makes us clean.
Yeah.
I would say all this truth, but he still didn't want to start it because he knew the responsibility of what it meant to say yes to Jesus.
Yes.
What does it mean? And right before we were about to head out on trail, we sat down, and I just said, hey, what are you thinking, man, about Jesus right now? Because I feel like you're always back and forth about you're just not quite there. Like, what is it that's holding you back? And he said, well, I feel like for the first time in my life, the things that I've been dragging around are getting lighter. The closer I get to Jesus, almost saying yes, he's like, things are getting lighter. So this kid was already right on the edge of, I want to commit my whole life to Jesus and put my trust in him. And when we're on trail, it's so hard. Everybody at one point wants to give up. So he's saying, I can't do it. I'm done. I can't do this anymore.
Right.
So we had him reciting, I can do all things through Christ, like literally yelling it out on trail. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And he was saying it 50-something times.
Yeah.
And so about the third day, we're getting up to where we're going to camp for the night, and we're starting to get in the snow. And it's starting to get absolutely frigid and so wet. And it's been raining on us for a day at this point. All of our gear is wet. I have no dry clothes.
Your sleeping bags?
Sleeping bags are soaking wet. So it's really hard. And so he gets close, and we're getting closer to where we're going to set up camp. And he'd been yelling that scripture out loud and saying, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And all of a sudden I heard him go, and I commit my whole heart to Jesus.
Got chills.
So all of a sudden it shifted, and he said, I believe in Jesus. He's saying this out loud. And he was a kid that uses hearing aids and speech. So he yelled that out, and all of us were like, man, did you just accept Jesus right now? And he goes, yes, I did. So I want to be baptized right now. And we were all like, ooh, we're in the middle of snow. This is crazy. How are we going to do this? So we get up there, and we're like, okay, there's a glacier pool right here. This pool of water and the frigid
I've seen
snow.
pictures.
Yes. And so we set up a little makeshift tent and a sleeping bag to get a plan. Like, he was going to go run in and change real fast once we baptized him.
So he didn't freeze to death.
Yeah, so he didn't freeze to death, and we have to tell his mom.
Yep.
So it was the water is so shallow that we can't dunk him backwards. So we well, let's put him face first. So we grabbed this kid and help him go. We laid him in the glacier pool, and then we just all splash water on him. In the name of the Holy Spirit, the Father and the Son, and we splashing water on this kid. But it was so wild because he was one of those students that I've seen so many amazing stories of kids following Jesus, but there's sometimes where they physically look different. His physical appearance was completely different. It was like he had dropped so much weight. And the significance of him saying the things that I've been dragging around are getting lighter is we're literally carrying
Dragging
a 60
pounds up a mountain.
And so it really represented something deeper of, hey, you're carrying this around. And when we peaked, we had to pass snow school. So we all learned how to use an ice pick, because if you fell, you can't go up in the snow, and you couldn't peak the mountain that we had been trying to climb for about 3 or 4 days.
So did you slide down if you fell? What happened?
Terrifying. So it's super steep and it's snow.
Okay.
So it's really easy to slip and fall. And you think, that's not going to happen. You slip and fall the whole time. So they give you an ice pick and you have to pass.
So it's more like packed ice than like fluffy snow.
It's kind of both. So you start to slide. But the ice pick, you learn to maneuver your body to throw yourself over your ice pick, to dig the pick into the snow and make yourself stand up.
Because this is hard.
It's terrifying. And then to get up the snow, you have to kick as hard as you can into the side of the mountain so that you don't slip.
Like a big divot with your foot.
A big divot with your foot.
Okay.
So a lot of us got what's called Christmas toe, where you damage the nerve. So I still can't feel my toes.
Just from that
trip. But it was one of the most
But you didn't lose
times.
your toenails this time. Last time you lost all your toenails.
Yes, last time I lost toenails, and that was my one thing. I don't want to lose my toenails.
Yeah.
Oh, and my other favorite moment was the last probably 12 hours. I had horrible sciatic nerve. Like, my legs were going numb. I was literally dragging my own feet. Just hurting so bad because the pack was right on the sciatic nerve.
You're right.
And so it was a representation for me of doing life with these kids and ministry with them for 10 years, that we had to divide out all of my stuff so that they would carry it. Mm-hmm. And so it was a moment of, I'm passing the mantle of deaf ministry, of deaf young life, that they're all going to carry it forward. Because there's so many things that I just see so much vision for their life and what they're going to do for the upcoming generations. And that's what real discipleship is with people, is investing in people. And I think your story is going to tie into that. Investing in people.
Well, there's one more part of this camp that I really want you to touch on. Besides the time where you all got in the tent and cried, but yes, which is really
the girls never cried except for that one night.
I think the boys were had a little bit harder time than the girls.
The girls were so tough.
But I think when you got in the tent and you guys started crying, is because everything was wet.
It was horrible, and your own body heat has to warm up the liner.
Yeah.
So we had. Part of the reason all of our feet were messed up is because we had no dry socks. Even the liners got wet, the sleeping bags. So you are already so cold. We just hiked up in the snow. Oh, and then they taught us how to do something called skating. It's a mountaineering term.
Yes.
It was just the best thing in my life. So you actually start sliding down the mountain.
I saw that, but you had picks.
That you used a pick to stop yourself.
That looks terrifying. I mean, and I'm sure, I think you had several parents that were like, what?
Well, it's all about adventure and the memories. So the adventure was so amazing. So it was soaking wet. And the girls at this point, it was just the only time that they had cried.
Yes.
To the point, they had given us a Jolly Rancher and said, hey, at your lowest point and the journey, take the Jolly Rancher. So that night, all the girls were silently crying in the corner eating a Jolly Rancher, trying to add something sweet.
But you were crying along with them.
So, but here's the secret. So I actually was like, girls, we got to tough it out. Because I have to lead this.
Yeah, you have to act like this is all okay.
Yeah. I'm like, we're not okay. We could die. But, and then so we're all laying there trying to get in these soaking wet sleeping bags. I'm like, girls, your body heat's going to warm it up. If you fall asleep, you're not even going to know you're cold. Like, totally making this up. And then they're all like crying. Finally, I couldn't hold it together. And then I'm like, you can do it. And then the moment they all turned off their lights, I turned around and was like silently sobbing. I was silently sobbing in the corner by myself in the tent. I mean, it was like...
It was miserable.
Oh, it was like being a pioneer. And there's no bathrooms. They're cooking food on the stove. So it's just really tough.
It's just rough.
But it's a mental endurance thing. Like the fact that you know you can do it and you don't think you can is like my most favorite thing.
Can you, I don't know if you can tell this story. Can you tell about the kid that stayed behind?
Yes. Yeah, I can tell the story. Another kid that's a part of a deaf group, he decided to stay back with his
He's from
leader.
an Austin
He's
group.
from Austin.
Yeah.
So he's from Austin, and he just never really liked me that much. And he didn't like me because, you know, he's
You're
like
bossy?
very deaf, like pride, very, very much.
Did he not like you because you spoke?
I think I was too joyful and too bubbly
Okay.
and too in his space.
Okay.
So that's how I am.
Okay.
So I was like, I will be your best friend. And he's like, I don't know if I want you to be my best friend.
He didn't want you to be his
He didn't
best
want me to
friend.
be his friend yet. But I was like, dude, you're going to love me. And it ended up happening eventually.
But he didn't love you at the beginning.
No, but that's my favorite is teenagers that hate me. I'm like, you're going to fall in love with me and we're going to be best friends. Like, that's my sweet spot.
Yeah.
You know? So he ended up staying back with his leader. His leader got injured 10 minutes into the trip. I mean, it was just, he was going to have to go
a
back.
surgery. So
He had surgery.
Right.
So I wanted that young man to stay so bad.
You wanted him to stay with you,
Stay with that group.
to go up on the mountain.
Yes, I knew he could do it. Like, he was gonna be such an important part of it. And of course, he cussed me out, didn't like me, said all the profane words and sign language at me. So I was like, okay. I just cried for the next day after that. And
Because you hate not to be liked.
I hate not being liked. And so I was like, he did not like me. He cussed me out, all this stuff. And so they had their own experience back at base camp where there were no interpreters. They had
Had no electricity.
No electricity.
They had the poop hole.
The poop holes, yes. So, but they had their own experience with God, and he encountered him in a real way. And he was, lots of funny words that he used to describe his encounter with God. But the last hour that we're getting off trail, we literally are running down the mountain.
Like a horse to barn.
Yes, trying to get to the boat in time. And quickly, when we got to the shore, we started noticing that there's somebody there waiting for us, and we couldn't recognize who it was. So we got closer and closer, and we realized that it's this kid, and he didn't even look the same. Like, I knew he had met Jesus because of the way that he looked.
His face.
Yeah, and he ran towards me, and he took my pack for me, my big 60-pound pack, and he was like, I met Jesus, and committed my whole life to him, and he said he was sorry for everything that he said to me. And then we became great friends, and he graduated, and I actually just went to a conference with them, and he had the option to stay with deaf friends in a hotel, or if he wanted to stay in the Young Life house with me.
And he chose you?
He chose me.
You're like,
yes! He's my best friend. He loves me. But yes, I hate when people don't like me. It's a problem. I'm like, I will prove to you that you will love me, and I will be your best friend.
Yep,
So,
you do.
yeah.
It's your 3 heart. It's your 3 heart.
No, I have to have people like me. It bothers me. I mean, as I've gotten older, it's a little better.
Right.
I'm kind of like, But especially with a teenager that's deaf, they're my people.
I know. And you have to have them like you.
I do.
What else life update? Okay, some other life updates.
Yeah.
You, I think the last time we did our episode, you were having massive colitis problems.
Yes. I had my colitis spread a foot into my colon.
Yes.
And so I had lost 15 pounds.
Yes.
By being sick.
Which was the only nice thing that came out of that.
The only nice thing.
Yeah. Because you had gained weight
I gained
with
probably 30 to 40.
With the last relationship just being
relationship.
miserable.
Yeah. So I was pretty miserable. I was just not in my own skin. I felt very uncomfortable. None of my clothes were fitting. So I was pretty upset with I've been the same weight for a long time. And so that was really hard to gain that much weight and just not feel like myself, not look like myself. Like, I don't like the way that any of my clothes anymore.
Well, yeah, because that was the biggest thing, is that you were having to buy new clothes, which was a huge expense.
And also just stressful.
Yeah.
So every event I was having to figure out, okay, this doesn't fit, I need a new outfit, all these things. And so yeah, when I was sick though, it also made me want to get healthy And
Well, you didn't really have a choice.
I don't have a choice. So, but also I keep joking, I lost 230 pounds.
Which was the bad man.
So I lost 200 pounds as a dead weight man and 30 pounds of my own.
Perfect.
I love it.
Perfect. Love it.
So I lost 30 pounds, and it's been really fun to
actually wear your clothes again. Has been nice.
All my clothes, like all my jeans fit again, all my favorite dresses, and so it's given me a confidence. And now I've cut my hair. So that was really exciting, just from a fashion standpoint too. I'm feeling good about
your budget
and my budget. I'm saving money. I'm losing weight. So all the
so
fun
that's
things.
good. So what else has gone on? Okay, so
I was gonna talk about the investment of people, and you had someone really important in your life.
Yeah, I did. I'm hoping not to cry on this, but we've actually had some, honestly, rough couple of weeks.
Yeah,
to be
we
honest.
lost two great people.
Yeah, two great people in the community we lost. In the middle of this, your granddad, who we've talked about his health, he's the good thing is he has got the official remission, so he's free of cancer. Which we're just so thankful for.
It's a miracle.
Super miracle.
Yes.
In the other incident, he's had more health problems. In 1 week, this was literally 1 week. He had on a Tuesday, his defibrillator, he went into AFib. They had to shock him. On Thursday, he got the remission of cancer, that he was cancer free. On Friday, he fell and broke his right hand. On Saturday, we had to take him to the ER because his hand was turning blue and green. And then on Sunday, he ended up in the hospital, just having a lot of internal issues.
Yeah.
And, was in the hospital for about 5 days. And so it's just been, because it's his right hand, it just, that affects so much of what you do with eating and walking and, just security. Yeah, everything. So that's been definitely trying. And in the middle of that, you had a close friend whose mama died, and that you had been walking a little bit of that journey, and somebody that was just phenomenal in the community.
Such a difference maker for so many, and
really for Aid the Silent and Hank and Emma Faye.
Really the first person one of the first people to really believe in the Aid the Silent, the first corporate funder, and then also approve the Hank and Emma Faye show was made by her. So it's really special person.
And it's a friend of yours, and so that's always really tough to watch that, and especially somebody so young and so doing so much, and it's one of the things I really want to ask God when I get up there is like, oh, why are we taking all these incredible people and then all these
I feel like the comfort is that both of these people have left such a huge legacy of faith and people, and that's what was really touching at both of those funerals. Was the room was filled with people who are so different because of their lives and the difference that they made, and especially both of them had such incredible faith, and that's a huge part of it. And but yours was probably really sad.
Mine was. I've been in a CEO group for 4 years now, and my mentor and my leader of that group just dropped dead unexpectedly of a heart attack at 66 years old. When you're getting in when your dad's in his 60s, that hits home pretty hard, and kind of chokes me up. But I didn't really have a word for him until he passed, but mentor is probably the best word for that. He was just a phenomenal person, and just I don't think I've ever been to a funeral. I really feel like this funeral was almost like a Bob Goff funeral.
Yeah.
I don't know if you felt that way.
I did.
But it was probably one of the sweetest, most amazing funerals I've ever been to, honestly. Hundreds and hundreds of people.
I mean, people standing outside.
The line coming in, there were just cars after car. It was just like a music festival or something. Just people driving in this long lines coming in to share. And I do think we had a special relationship with him because our group did spend so much time with him individually, coaching and through this group, and just unique friendship. And we had known him through, you went to school with his daughter. You and his daughter were in the same grade at Geneva School of Bernie. So we'd known them for years. But in particular, this funeral, man, I hope my life, I hope that, oh my gosh. I mean, just so unbelievable. Every person that got up talked about what a difference this man made in his life and made in their life. And at one point they said, if you've been mentored by Robert, will you stand up? And about half of the people stood up. And he was just such a strong believer, so I know where he is, and he really shared his faith to a lot of people. And even in this Vistage group, which is not a faith-based group, he definitely, you knew where he stood.
And he used it as a ministry.
He did. So he had a really profound impact on my life. I've been pretty devastated by it. I didn't realize how much it would affect me.
Yeah.
And I'm like thinking about it. So anyway, it's been hard. The last three or 4 weeks have been just a lot happening. One thing after another. Yeah. But you know what? God is continually good. And he had 6 kids, and it was pretty amazing to see. They're all adults, but to just see just the life that he led as just a father was pretty amazing.
I think it gives hope of we want to live a life like Robert and like our other friend, is that we live a life like that where there is a legacy and that's an investment in people. I was thinking that the only thing we can take to heaven, we can't take our material wealth, we can't take our things, we can only take each other.
Yeah.
So that's why eternity matters and each other matter, because the only thing we can take to heaven is people. Yeah. Have you ever thought about that?
Oh yeah, for sure. I was actually listening to a sermon today, and it was you never see a U-Haul behind a Hertz, of hauling all your things with it. So yeah, it really is. And just sowing into people's lives and just loving people well, which, as busy as we get, sometimes that gets hard. Because you get caught up in the day in and day out. I think you probably have a job that's more of, you get to love people because they're little people and it's real easy to love them. And so I do love to come, and I don't get to do as much Aid the Silent as I would like to do. But I do love to come and remember the whys with you all and do the hearing aid clinics and get to see, again, why we do that. But you can make a difference in somebody's life just in your everyday, just, being nice at the grocery store and intentional, Yes. Of course I say that and then somebody cuts me off and I'm like, what? Yeah, I'm yelling at the person, but
sign language to them. But just like even in the grocery store, just thinking, okay, this person probably had a bad day, or this person hasn't had somebody say something kind to them. Yeah. So I challenge myself to try to compliment people around the grocery store, or say hi, because you'd be surprised people don't look up and smile at each other. So I try to smile, and lately I think it's awkward, but I'm like, I'm smiling at you because you matter. You're a person who matters.
See, that's so sweet. And I wish I had that, but I have such an 8 personality. Yeah. And when you're saying that, it was kind of reminding me of the guy at the movie theater.
Remind you of what?
Or the guy at the movie theater. I'm like, I'm going to be kind to people. Now, granted, this has been 10 years ago.
Yes.
But,
he kind of deserved it.
I know, but this guy in the movie theater was just so terrible. And instead of being nice to him, I literally was like, you are like the world's biggest asshole. I'm sorry. You are awful.
You literally said that. I was like, oh my gosh.
I just couldn't handle him anymore.
She couldn't handle
So obviously I need to take some more of my, let's be nice to people, because
but you're nice in other ways. You fight for people and advocate for them. But it's so funny about that story is that, man.
I have a terrible memory.
I have a
horrible memory.
So we saw him a few years later.
He happened to be local.
Yeah, he's local, and you saw him a few years later, and you both were like, oh, hi, how are you? I haven't seen you in so long. And when we walked away, I was like, Mom, that's the guy. You only know him because you cussed him out. in the movie theater. I think he's not your friend. Last time you saw him, you called him a bad boy in public.
Well, here is the good part, is I don't remember when I'm mad at people.
See, I'm the opposite. I remember everything.
Yeah, you're Sicilian.
You get mad quick.
I get mad quick and I'm over it, mainly because I have bad memory.
But it takes me a lot to get mad. But once I'm mad, you are on the poop list forever.
Really, technically, from second grade, you still have somebody that takes
people.
Yeah, like when you got locked in the bathroom.
Yeah, I got locked in the bathroom, and then somebody walked in on me in the bathroom. I still don't like. I'm old. He's like 30 now, so
actually, you're over it.
I still remember all of these things.
You're over it. So tell us what's going on. I think we're gonna wind up here in a few minutes, but let's give some more updates on Aid the Silent. What's happening with Aid the Silent?
Yeah,
Capital campaign. You're still working
on it. So kind of how it works is you go through cycles, and summer is so slow. It's just no grants are open, and
nobody's paying attention.
No one's really paying attention. They're traveling, kids are out. So it's ramping back up for a capital campaign. And I have so much vision, and it's so hard to have so much vision with so little resources. That's all the time.
I'm constantly reining you in.
Yes.
You'll send me text, and I'm like, no, have you looked in the bank account? We can't do that.
I can't do this. So I'm like, I want to hire all these people. I want to do all these things. And I'm like, okay, one thing at a time. But it's become apparent that I do need help. I can't do all the things. I can't grow until I have someone who does do operational management. So I have interviewed a bunch of people for that position with basically an operational manager who would do the day-to-day books and day-to-day support me so I can go do the job of finishing the capital campaign. Just need help to be able to launch some of the bigger vision things. Is that to have in-house ideology, to do desk jobs, and finish the capital campaign. So it's amazing that people actually want to work for Aid the Silent.
I know, that's been cool. You've had some incredible applicants. Incredible applicants.
Like, I am floored that people want to work for me, and that we built that reputation of our organization. But I've had over 70 applicants, and I would say probably 20 to 30 of them are genuine candidates.
Yeah.
Actual, strong people from big organizations or big companies that want to work for Aid the Silent.
Aid the Silent. So you're narrowing that down. The board is getting ready to start interviewing.
Yes.
And then tell me about the capital campaign. How much you have left?
I have $680,000 left, to where we are currently writing out the architect plans. We're designing it
for the renovations.
For the actual renovation, 3D renderings, so we can really wrap a bow on that and start renovating the whole project, which will have clinic rooms, officers, exam rooms, and a beautiful lobby where families could gather. And then a local grocery store, which is amazing, HEB funded the accessibility hall, which would be a tactile sensory room for deaf people to have conferences and events, and it will also have lighting for interpreters. So I'm really excited about the project because San Antonio needs Aid the Silent, and we need a deaf child center in Texas, and it really is the first of its kind. So I'm so hopeful for the future, and we do have several big events coming up. We have our big gala, which is February 8th, and it's really fun. It's an actual gala where people dress up.
Yeah, and it'll be our 10-year anniversary.
10 years.
10 years. I know, it's hard to believe. And then our 5K is going to, we are
June
not doing
7th.
a 10K. We're doing a 5K.
Yes, the 10K was such an overkill, but it was cute because it's our 10th
run.
race.
Yeah,
yes.
It was our 10th run. So that is going to be June 7th.
Yes,
So mark your calendars, February 8th, June 7th.
Yes, February 8th, June 7th.
And then the other thing that we want to talk about, do we want to kind of kick this out and do hot takes?
Yeah, let's do hot takes.
Okay, hot takes. I got to remember what hot takes is. So hot takes are things that annoy you. And I'm an 8, so I could do lots. So let me think about this. Okay.
Well, just hot takes like strong opinions, trending things.
Well, okay. So do you want to go first?
My hot take
Yes.
is I'm really tired of people over medicating ADHD.
I agree with that
Yeah,
because I have
because-
severe ADHD.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
we both do. I think we just realized I do too. So
I really do because I've been watching so much on it, and you have
am
it.
it.
You have it in the one where you shut down, and you can't function. Like you get overwhelmed and you can't function.
Yes.
And then you're high capacity, like for
When
2
I
or 3
am.
weeks, and which I love that Emma.
Yeah,
that's one of my
Emma.
favorite Emma. When you
Emma,
get in that high capacity, I'm
Emma.
like, yes, this is the best. And then you'll like go and crater, and then
I do it over and over
and over again.
Yeah, I freeze and I'm either really high capacity or I'm like nothing.
Yeah,
There's no in between.
there's no in between.
Which is so weird. But part of it I've been learning about ADHD is I'm sad that people label it as like a dysfunction versus I think it's really beautiful.
I think it's a superpower.
I think it's a superpower.
I do
ADHD is a superpower because our brains are wired to be creative, to operate out of chaos. Imagine if we were both medicated in school.
It wouldn't work. Hey,
And
I did see
terrible.
the statistic. Was it 40 or 60% of entrepreneurs are
That-
ADHD?
It's a high percentage of
Huge high.
entrepreneurs.
It's usually the people that didn't fit in the box, that are always in trouble, that talk too much. I literally had 18 detentions one year from talking too much. I had to keep a calendar. This was before the phone. I had to keep a calendar and write down my detentions, and my teachers would give them to me, and I'd say, I am not available for that detention until 2 or 3 weeks from now. And my parents could care less. They were just, they didn't have to pick me up early. They were
So they kind of liked it.
no. And then I got licks. I mean, we had licks at that point. I got licks for talking too much.
But you just had ADHD.
I know, I
Admit
couldn't
that
shut
you
my
would be
mouth.
a CEO superhero.
I couldn't shut my mouth. And my
Yeah.
parents had a this was in 3rd grade. My parents had a parent teacher conference. They literally could not stand this teacher because they thought she was just something, she hated me. But she said, your daughter is a social butterfly. And they took that as not a compliment, obviously. And they were so mad. But it was so true. I could not shut my mouth. I just talked all the time.
I like that you're social butterflies because social butterflies start things. They build companies.
I know,
People
but-
with ADHD, we build things. We create things
I know.
out of nothing.
But we do have some issues. I
We
can't
do.
stay focused like 3 seconds.
Yeah.
I had to wonder
Have
how I
you,
get through
so
this.
I discovered a secret to how I can work. So I can't sit still in one location. So I'm never at my desk.
So you just move
I
your
move from
laptop.
section to section to section. So what I've done now is I have a little bin full of my office supplies,
Yes.
and I just hop from section to section.
Oh.
And so I can move my little tub with all my work stuff. So, and there's this principal that I follow on Instagram.
Yeah.
He has a work desk station that rolls around. So you can be in the hallways with kids. You can be, so I kind of want a work desk that rolls.
You won't get squat done.
Yeah, I will. I roll it around. I really roll around.
I spin in my chair. Does that count?
Yeah.
Okay, so let me do my hot take and then let's hot take out of here. My hot take is probably at this time of this deal, we've now had a second assassination attempt, and I have pretty much just this political climate is just
I'm over it.
well, it's
Toxic.
it's so toxic.
I'm exhausted.
It's exhausting.
I don't even want to share anything. I just want to get
So
through
we got to
this.
go. We got to go 52 more days or 50 something more days for this.
So
But
I'm starting a movement. Are you ready?
I'm ready. What's your movement?
I'm going anti all of this, and I decided.
You bought your
Yeah,
hat.
I did. So I'm voting for Dolly Reba, 2020.
Perfect.
So it says Dolly for president, and my VP pick is Reba. Because honestly, Dolly would work a 9 to 5. This is the woman I want. She's business. She's smart. She's a songwriter. She wrote "And I Will Always Love You." She capitalized on that song.
She's one of those people that can smile in your face but just cut you down. Yeah,
She would be
perfect.
tough. And then Reba, because a single mom who works too hard
Who? I forgot it.
loves
Her kids and never stops.
with gentle hand and heart of a fighter.
I'm a survivor. We
So,
did it.
Yeah.
Okay. Peace
Rad.
out. I think we're out of here. We have at least got one in the can. Hopefully it's not going to be another 3 months before we do it again.
No, it won't be.
Okay.
We're back on a regular
Hey, we're
schedule.
going to have to move to a morning time because
you are non-existent.
I'm
at
a
this time.
non-existent. This
So
is
you
way
are
too
a
late for
morning
me.
person. I'm a night person. What's
And
the
I've
happy
quit
medium?
making afternoon appointments because I literally
that
can't.
old.
I'm getting that old. So,
And also, I would say you didn't have any menopausal rolls. They
thank
stayed
you.
nice and firm.
I tried to tuck my menopausal rolls in.
Yes.
So,
It's all nice and
perfect.
flat. So we'll see you next time
See you next time.
on
She's not my sister.
sister.
Peace out.